morning. I'm Captain Jason Stevens from the Crimes Against Persons Bureau. The first one I'm going to speak about is the homicide at 13th and Oliver. Wichita police officers just before 2 a.m. this morning were dispatched to that area in response to a shooting incident. When they arrived, they found a SUV that had crashed through a fence and ultimately into a garage in the back door of a residence on Harding. They made contact with the occupants, a 25-year-old male passenger, and they found the deceased driver, who is identified as being 22-year-old Clemente Camarillo of Wichita, in the driver's seat. He suffered one single gunshot wound and was pronounced at the scene. There were also multiple strikes to the vehicle as a result of gunfire and multiple shell casings located in the middle of the street on 13th in the area of Oliver. Through our investigation, we learned that Mr. Camarillo and his passenger were driving eastbound, and a unknown vehicle, we believe to be a blue-colored or a similar colored sedan, driving in the same direction with at least one or more occupants opening fire on the vehicle. We do not believe at this time that this is a random incident, and it appears to have been a targeted incident directed at the occupants of the SUV. However, I'm not prepared to comment on any of the further information that we've gathered because it is still very early in the investigation, and we're trying to establish some of the motive and other facts in the case. The second case I'm going to talk about occurred just before 4 a.m. It's a shooting incident that Wichita police officers were dispatched to in the 8200 block of East 33rd Street Court, 33rd Street South Court. The resident there called 911 upon receiving a phone alert from their Ring doorbell camera that there was someone on the front porch of their house. They then realized that that individual was attempting to gain access to their garage. The resident, a 31-year-old male, armed himself. There was also a 29-year-old female in the residence. The 31-year-old male went outside and confronted the suspect, who was described as a male, unknown race, in his 20s or 30s, wearing all dark or all black clothing with the hood up. He confronted the suspect, who began to walk away, and upon telling him to stop, the suspect turned and fired one shot at him, missing him. However, the gunshot did strike his house. The suspect got into a light gray-colored Caravan and left the area from there. I want to say that on both of these cases, if anyone in the public has any information about either one of these incidents, they're encouraged to contact Wichita Police Detectives at 268-4407, or they can submit anonymous tips to Crime Stoppers at 267-2111.
I guess on the shooting incident on 33rd Street,
Uh-huh.
what do you guys recommend people do if they see somebody, lurking around their place or trying to gain entry to something like that? I mean, I'm assuming you guys don't want people to go out there and confront them.
It's not advisable. My very best advice would be to contact 911 immediately and get yourself and other occupants of the house or your family to a safe location within the house, or be prepared to escape out of the back door, or whatever it takes to keep yourself and your family safe. I would not advise confronting an individual, especially going outside of your residence, to do so, because as we learned in this incident, people that break into homes and break into cars are very oftentimes armed with a weapon, and in this case a firearm. And I would not want anyone to put themselves in undue risk when it's not absolutely necessary.
And any idea if that suspect description and or suspect vehicle description matches other cases down in that area?
This is still a very, occurred less than 6 hours ago. So at this point in time, we haven't had a chance to really to do a background investigation into similar incidents. I assure you that that will be done, and if we do generate any type of a crime trend, our investigators will communicate with our field services personnel, and we will address that accordingly. And of course, we'll get with Charlie or Trevor and let you guys know if we do discover such a trend.
And after the incident at 13th and Oliver, now having 2 deaths in the first week of 2022, any thoughts on that? Any trends or things to look out for?
No, I mean, obviously you can't predict when these types of things are going to happen, and it would be irresponsible for me to make any snap judgment as to what the meaning of that is. It's tragic, and it's unfortunate, of course, to have 2 homicides within a week's time, but we're, as we always do, we'll diligently follow up on our leads and make sure that we bring the families of those victims justice, and the offenders are held accountable.
Do you have suspects identified in that one on 13th?
At this point in time, we are going to rely on the public's assistance and any information we can get. At this point in time, we do not have a suspect developed. I will say we have a person of interest that we're reaching out to or attempting to reach out to, but again, it's still very early in the investigation, and I can't really comment any further on that until we've developed more leads.
You said it was not, you don't believe it's random, do you believe it was gang related, or can you address that yet?
Right now, we really don't know what the motive is, but it does not appear to be a random incident. It does appear that this vehicle specifically was targeted.
Any idea if there's any chance of some sort of like road rage kind of issue, or are you guys thinking probably something else?
I'm not going to rule out any of those possibilities at this point in time. Again, like I said, we really don't know what the motive is. So, until we've had an opportunity to seek out and identify more leads, which will hopefully lead to some additional interviews or evidence, I can't responsibly comment to that.
And then I guess, any idea where these vehicles first kind of ended up near each other at versus where the shooting occurred? Was this a matter of people happened to just pull up the side, or was it more for quite a distance?
I will say, and for the sanctity of the investigation, I'm not going to comment on exact locations, but we do believe that it is possible that these vehicles had been encountering each other prior to the intersection of 13th and Oliver.
And then I don't remember if you said, was the passenger the person who called 911 or the homeowner who came out to discover somebody struck their garage? Or
to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that. I know that someone called 911. All right, thank you.
Oh, the condition of the passenger.
He was unharmed.
Unharmed.
Thank you.
Again, both of these investigations are active and ongoing. If we get any more information, we'll let you guys know. But if anybody in the community has information that they want to share with us, they can contact WPD detectives directly, or if they want to remain anonymous, they can call Crime Stoppers at 267-2111. If your tip to Crime Stoppers leads to a felony arrest, you are eligible for a cash reward. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Thanks, Captain.
Thank you, Captain.